Most people think it costs millions of dollars to invest in commercial real estate. I'm here to tell you that's not true. I'm going to be recapping the podcast that I did with commercial real estate investor Trent Ellingford. And what we talked about completely changed the way that I think about investing in real estate and commercial real estate, especially for that matter. We talk about how you can structure deals, how you can find deals, and how you can just be the middleman in these deals and earn huge profits just by finding them and providing value in a way that you can set the deal up on both ends and be the middleman. All that and more. Stay tuned. So who is Trent Ellingford? Well, Trent is a commercial real estate investor that started out buying single-family real estate. He bought one rental property that caused him some headache, didn't really give him enough money to change his situation in one way or the other. And he ended up getting involved with another commercial real estate investor who was further along down the road and partnering with him on deals. Now, this guy was doing enough deals where certain deals he had to turn away, even though they might still work. And so on one particular deal, Trent was involved in, and they ended up selling that to another investor, and they made $300,000 as an assignment fee for just sending that one deal. And this kind of opened up Trent's eyes. Essentially, that's what led him to where he's at today, is a commercial real estate wholesaler. So what is commercial real estate wholesaling? Well, that's where you get a property under contract. You have the right to buy that contract. So that's what a contract is. If you have one, if you have a contract, you have the right to execute that contract. That goes back to the Constitution. It's an American right. You have the right to put something under contract. Now, you can assign your rights to somebody else. And in that process, you can assign the rights to buy it at a higher price. So when all the money exchanges hands, you get the difference between the contract price that you put it under contract at and what you assigned it to. That's just, in essence, what commercial wholesaling or wholesaling in general is, for that matter. So what does Trent do? Well, instead of doing 50 deals a month, like a lot of real estate companies at this point, if you're seeing companies that are doing 50 deals a month, they're doing a lot of marketing, they're spending thousands of dollars, and yeah, they're making a lot of money, but they're also spending a lot of money as well in order to keep that whole operation going. And it's honestly, in my opinion, a stressful business model because, well, unlike a lot of businesses, if you have a bad month, your expenses don't go away, but your profit does. And that can put you underwater relatively quickly. So what did Trent do? Well, he kind of flipped the script in a sense. He's going after larger commercial family properties. So anything, most of these properties are well over $1 million, if not tens of millions of dollars. Now, the amount of work that goes into finding these deals is not necessarily more work than finding a deal that you would buy from somebody that's a landlord that has a few properties and wants to sell their $200,000 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. Now, I will say that these properties do take a longer time to close, but that doesn't necessarily mean more work. It takes more time, but not more work. Now, what makes more sense? Doing 10 or 50 deals in a month that are all closing between 2 weeks, 30 days, and all come with their own problems, or closing one deal a month that instead of making 10 or 20,000 or maybe $30,000, $40,000 on the high end, he's making a minimum of $100,000. Yeah, I said that right. $100,000 is his minimum assignment fee. It's really more like $200,000 all the way up to $500,000 per deal. Now, Trent's been doing this a while, so he's gotten to the point where he's doing more than one of these a month, or at around one a month. So just do the math on that. If he's doing more than one a month and the minimum is 100,000, he's making a couple $1,000,000 a year at least doing this. Not to mention all the deals that come across his desk that would be a good fit for somebody that he's sending these deals and making huge profits on. He's also able to keep the ones that work well for him. So how does this work exactly? And really, how does he find these deals and how do these numbers play out? Well, let's get into that. So the first thing that Trent does is he talks about his marketing. Now, as opposed to a larger wholesale operation where you might have 10 people cold calling for you on the lower end, and these people are calling during the working hours of the day, he's got a relatively small team, him and a few other people that are cold calling the same properties and building relationships over a 6 months, a year, maybe even multiple years of talking to these people, building rapport, building trust to where eventually they get to a point where they're ready to transfer their asset to another source, their retirement, whatever it is, they're moving on from it. And Trent's there. He's been talking to them. They trust him. And this is how he develops a pipeline. So he says, you're not going to get rich in 30 days, but if you give this business 6 months, which was the time frame that he referenced, you can really change your life. So where is he finding these people to call? Well, it was actually much more simple than I was expecting. Trent literally goes on Google Maps and searches for RV parks. Now you can search commercial real estate as a very wide category. Now he says it's important to not skip around because you want to master one category. The one category that he sees the most opportunity in right now is RV parks. So let's actually do this ourselves and see if we can find a list of properties that we can call an RV park where I'm at in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, so here we go. I'm currently on Google Maps and I'm just going to type in RV parks. This is in the DFW area. And let's see what comes up. Okay, cool. So we got a bunch of them that come to the top here. Avondale RV Park, Lake Worth RV Ranch. Okay, let's see how many we got here. Wow. So these are all commercial properties that are more commonly owned by individuals. So when I say individuals, less of them are owned by hedge funds like BlackRock and State Street. All of these are people that are owner-operated, and a lot of these people actually live on the parks. That was one of the reasons that he gave of why he thinks RV parks are a great opportunity. Another point that I'll add is if you have a W-2 job and you're trying to offset your taxes, well, aside from having kids and being married and depreciating, your house, there's not a whole lot other great tax write-offs unless you're qualified as a real estate professional, unless you do a cost depreciation study on a short-term rental. So people will buy a vacation home or an Airbnb as long as it's qualified as something that's less than 7 days at a time. You get to write off a much larger percent of the taxes, and RV parks also fit in that category from my understanding. I'll fact check that after I make this video. So anyways, these are cash flowing machines, and that's honestly what he's focusing on right now for his own portfolio. So all of these, it just keeps going. I can keep scrolling down, and all of these are potential leads that you could call and make an offer on their property. So let's see if we can get a phone number here. Avondale RV Parks 1 and 2. Okay, here we go. Contact us. So this looks like a pretty simple website. I bet if you called that phone number, it would be the owner. And then if you got time and you got a cell phone connection and some grit to understand commercial real estate and what to say on the phone, you could potentially be sending these deals to somebody like Trent where he'll partner with you and split the profits on a deal like that. Let's see. Let's go to this website. Oh, it's added website. Okay. So these guys don't have a website. Oh, here they do have a phone number. So I would just start hitting all these properties here and getting on the phone and start making offers. And that's the other part is Trent's been, in essence, bottle capped by the amount of work that him and his team can do. So he's also teaching people how to do this, and they're bringing him deals that he can partner with them on. So it's like a win-win where he's got this deal partnership program where you go find a deal, you get the property under contract, and he's got the right terms to put in there that he said that is advantageous to somebody wholesaling because you need a certain amount of time to get these deals going. And then, you send him the deal, they take care of the rest of the legwork, and you get a partner and, be making 6 figures per deal, which is pretty great. Now, before we get into that, I want to take a minute to talk about the Get Wealth community. So Trent Ellingford came on my podcast and explained exactly how he has been wholesaling commercial real estate properties for hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month. Then after that, he came into the Get Wealth community for a live Q&A. And you can sign up for the Get Wealth community today and talk to people just like Trent and ask questions and figure out exactly how they're doing it on a deeper level in the Q&As, in the master classes, in the coffee hours, and connect with other people that are in that group trying to build wealth. So if that's something that might be a good fit for you, the link is in the description, and we'll see you inside. So the next thing you might ask is, well, what do you even say to these people what do you offer them? Well, this isn't specifically what Trent said, but the way I would go about it is just asking them if they've ever thought about selling, or if they have it, what their plans are for the RV park. Start a conversation and relate to them in some way. And as you follow up with these leads, you start to ask questions and learn more about it, and potentially start offering them some ideas. Now, what could you offer? Well, the strategy that Trent actually said that he uses is he'll give them two different offers. The first one is going to be their cash price based on the numbers. What is this thing worth? Now, in commercial real estate, property is not valued based on the bedrooms and bathrooms like a residential property is. It's valued based on the income. So if you have a 30-unit building that's earning $100,000 a month in gross profit or gross income, and a 10-unit and it's earning the same amount, that's how they're going to be valued, not based off the size. It's based off of cap rates. So the first offer is going to be a cash offer, essentially. He's going to find somebody that's going to pay that price that he's offering. The next one is going to be a seller finance offer or a creative offer. Now, this gives the seller two things. The cash price is usually going to be lower, because to buy something completely outright and give somebody a big pile of cash, well, the price is going to be low because that comes at a cost. Now, if they're willing to be flexible on the terms, like they're willing to take payments over time or do interest only for a portion, well, now the price can go up because it's more flexible. And so he'll do both. His primary concern is that it's going to cash flow. So the strategy that Trent mentioned in our podcast is he'll offer interest only for a shorter period of time. And then after that period is over, he'll pay them the rest of their money, and that gives him enough time to either add value to the property or figure out a way to increase the rents so that he can then increase the value, which will give him the opportunity to bring in different money partners or different bank financing to cash out his existing debt that the seller financed to him. Now, there's probably a better way of explaining that, and maybe I'll try to put in some graphics to help visualize that. But essentially, there's the cash offer, which is a little bit more aggressive on the price, a little bit lower to make the numbers work, to get in a discount for it to still be valuable, where he can assign the property, builds in his margin there, where if he gets it at a price where it's worth X, but he has it under that value by X amount, then he can go assign that price to another buyer. Or there's the creative deal, which allows the seller to get the price they want just over a different period of time. Usually 5 to 10 years would be the longer end of what you would see somebody selling or financing their property on. Now, that's not to say that you can't seller finance for 30 years. There are people that are finding good fixed interest rate seller financing on 30-year periods, because their play is they're just wanting it to cash flow in perpetuity and never sell it. So that is a strategy. So there's multiple ways you can go about this, and really the burden is on you to do some of the upfront legwork, to learn what the conversation is that you need to be having with the sellers. I don't completely know from my time in residential wholesaling and house flipping. There's a little bit of translation there, but I would still recommend either reading some books or watching some YouTube courses to become familiar with what to say and how to say it. If you have the right verbiage when you're calling people, it kind of builds some trust, allows them to take you more seriously in the beginning. And that's going to come with time. You got to get on the phones. You got to be talking to people. And then that's kind of like a muscle you got to work out. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Please like and subscribe and drop a comment. Open to suggestions on different content that you want to see or guests that you want to have on the podcast. And if you want to talk to people like Trent, like the other people that have come on the podcast, the Get Wealth community is open for a limited time for free. Just sign up. The link is in the description, and you can network with like-minded people, join the live Q&As, and be a part of a growing community that's filled with entrepreneurs and business owners looking to help you get to the next level. Thanks for watching.